Hello everyone and welcome to Demolition D Plus's video review of Evangelion 3.33 You Cannot Redo. Before we get started, there's probably a little something you should know about me. I absolutely love Evangelion. Now when I say Evangelion, I mean Neon Genesis Evangelion. That doesn't mean I don't like the Rebuild series, which we'll be covering here today, obviously, but I'll tell you right off the bat that when it comes to the Rebuilds versus the original series and its film successor, The End of Evangelion, the latter has a very special place in my heart. So let's get started. I'm going to try and give a quick plot analysis here without giving away too much of the story. I like to say that my reviews are spoiler-free for the most part, but who knows, what you might consider a spoiler, I might not. First up, it's been 14 years since you cannot advance and the world has gone to shit, and it doesn't take long for Shinji to find out that it's all his fault after what he did at the end of the previous film. Again, not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen the previous film, so in case you're wondering what exactly it is that he did, well, he didn't plant a cute little rose garden, I can tell you that much. 3.33's storytelling is all over the place in terms of clarity. At times you have no idea what the heck is going on, and at others it's incredibly straightforward in comparison to the original series. But if we're going to sit here and compare every little detail to the original Evangelion, we'd be here all day, so let me try and kick that habit early on in this review. Everyone is mad at Shinji for what he did, except for this new chick, but she's out of the picture pretty quickly. Gendo's still a complete badass, but admittedly, maybe not the best father figure. Rei is... yeah, and everyone else is pretty much gone. And it's in this loneliness that the film takes the initiative to bond Shinji with Kaoru, which we all knew was coming, but I'll be honest, I didn't have very high hopes for them being able to replicate that relationship fully as they did with Neon Genesis Evangelion before seeing the film, and boy did they prove me wrong. Shinji and Kaoru's relationship throughout the film is believable and stronger than ever, which makes some more events down the line a lot heavier, involving the two of them, and if you ask me, is probably the highlight of the movie next to the brilliant production values. Production value! Lots of it. It's like Gainax just opened the vault of monies for the Rebuild team and said, go crazy, it's all yours, which is never a bad thing. With that said, less is often more, and this is an issue that does come up a bit with some of the over-the-top action sequences, very much like 2.22, with all the giant robot backflips and twist kicks, and Jesus, remember when they were just giant lumbering tanks, felt like they could move the earth with a flick of their wrist? Now it's kind of reminiscent of Power Rangers or something. Fight scenes are good, if a little flashy. Moving on, music is great, big surprise, great music in an Evangelion movie, color me shocked. What's not so great, Shinji, I guess? Shinji's a strange character to nail down at this point in the Rebuild story. Just what is going on with him? Shinji sure does seem strangely okay with everything that's happening around him. He's suddenly thrust into this desolate future where everyone ignores him, Kaoru just wants to play piano, Rei just kind of stands there in a plug suit and doesn't really say anything, like a seductive vegetable. And it's like opposite day back at headquarters. He's borderline begging to get back into EVA Unit 1, with everyone telling him no. When in the end of Evangelion, Misato just wants him to fucking walk, he can't even do that. Maybe that was a problem, guys. Maybe all you needed was a little reverse psychology. Shinji, don't pilot the robot. But aren't I the only one? Look bro, just don't pilot it. We don't need you. Well, now I kind of want to pilot it. For those who saw the film in theaters months ago, the verdict was kind of already out there, and although the internet was a friggin' minefield of spoilers left and right, I did manage to walk away with a general consensus of, we don't really know what to think about this movie, and after seeing the film for myself, that's definitely understandable, but I'll openly admit that I don't really fall in line with it. I know that I enjoyed it far more than I did Evangelion 2.22, mainly because it looks as though things are coming full circle instead of taking the roundabout way that EVA 2.22 did with its wishy-washy, look, we're staying faithful to the original series, but not really, we're different, but we're the same kind of attitude, and 3.33 kind of just throws caution to the wind and goes the complete opposite direction of anything that's happened in past iterations, and I'm completely okay with that. You know, if you're going to be ballsy and take the series into a new direction, I respect that, but don't straddle the line, damn it. Now, for those of you a little more familiar with Evangelion as a whole than those who haven't seen the original show, wondering whether or not the whole this is a sequel to the original series theory still stands after watching this movie, it definitely does without really strengthening either sides of the argument. While it does touch on some aspects of this closer to the end of the film, the rest of the story is just so busy doing its own thing that the rest is up for us to speculate upon, as it has been since the release of 1.0. As for what I think in regards to whether or not the Rebuilds are a sequel to the original series, well, that's another video for another time. As you may or may not know with me, I really don't like working with a number-based rating system when it comes to my reviews. After all, what it comes down to in the end for you, the viewer, is whether or not you should be spending your time on the subject at hand. In an Evangelion 3.33 you cannot redo's case, that is definitely a yes. In the end, I think the film summarizes it best. No, not that. No!
世界を崩すことは造作もない。だが、作り直すとなるとそう。
Yeah, that one. Hideaki Anno, you had something original, something that no one else had done before in storytelling with the Neon Genesis Evangelion series, and because of this, the creativity and raw emotion bled through your fingertips and cemented it in history as one of the greatest achievements in modern film. Now you're trying to replicate that with this new film series, but honestly, without that former depression and state of mind that helped mold the original Evangelion into what it was, and let's face it, as much money as there is being shoved into your face at the moment due to the success of these ridiculously over-the-top films, you're taking a very alternative approach. And maybe that's fine for the future of Evangelion. Maybe it's not. All we have to do now is wait and see. As always, be sure to subscribe if you like what you see here today, as this is pretty much what I do, covering anime and video games. Check me out over examiner.com, where I sometimes write about anime and video games, and hey, if you want, find me over at myanimelist.net, where you can see all of what I've watched anime-wise and how I've rated it. Also, I feel I should mention that I will be doing a rebuild of Evangelion versus Neon Genesis Evangelion kind of video here soon, so if you're interested in that, expect it in the near future. Oh, and be sure to check out my Should You Watch miniseries from my channel, where I briefly cover tons of other anime series in a satirical fashion. All those links can be found in the description.